Floor after floor after floor after floor
After floor after floor after floor. God, it's good. What a series. What a good time.
So good.
So, welcome
Do you have
back
the
to the
soundboard?
implications of Phineas and Ferb, where we discuss, the implications of Phineas and Ferb.
Yes, that is what we do.
Oh, been a
Do
while.
you have the soundboard? Do you have any way I can hear the beautiful
I do not, unfortunately, although I can do it in post. Bam, there you go.
Nice,
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, God, I'm so glad I got to hear that in real live action, like just in real time. But yeah, we're up to season 2, episode 30.
30. We are into the 30s.
30.
There's a lot in season 2, isn't there?
I know, but like, we're coming towards the end of season 2, surely.
Yeah. It's like
Surely
38 episodes
we'll.
or something. Like, it's pretty long.
Yeah, but like that, we have to do something at the end of season 2. We always do a special.
Yeah,
like always,
surely.
I mean, the other time we finished a season, we did something nice. Yeah, so
and it
we've
was
got,
pretty big. I don't know how we're ever going to top that.
Yeah, I know. So now we've got just 31, and then the second last and the third last. You can watch at once because it's like that little movie they made. The best one.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we're up to episode 30. The Secret to Success.
The Secret of Success and the Doof Side of the Moon.
The Doof Side of the Moon.
Both of which I think this is some of the best hits of Phineas and
Oh,
Ferb.
yeah. This is some real good Phineas and Ferb. This is just a real good classic adventure.
A good third or fourth ep for you. Like not your first, but once you've got the formula down, it's just some of the best.
It's very good. I think the second episode is superior to the first one.
Yeah,
I really
100%.
enjoyed
But the
Doof Side of the
all-terrain
Moon.
vehicle is a
Oh, the
banger.
all-terrain
And
vehicle
Doof
is
Side of the
really funny.
Moon, I've put in my notes. I love it, and it's up there with Thaddeus and Thor because it is.
That is very high praise
It's up
coming
there.
from you.
It is. I love Thaddeus and Thor. That's my favorite app, and this is like second or third. It's fantastic. And we'll get into the implications later. But first, the secret of success. Tell me what happens.
Yes, getting right into it. So, Candace and Stacey, nearly forgot a name there. They're going to a leadership seminar. We've all been
Yeah, well,
there.
Stacey needs to because her mum makes her.
Yeah, her
Yep,
mum wants
I
to
understand that.
wants to focus on becoming a doctor or a lawyer or a doctor or whatever.
Yeah, one of those two options.
And
She brings Candace along. Candace doesn't
yeah,
really want
brings,
to go.
brings Candace along. Yeah,
Candace is there like the rest of us and it's like, no, I don't want to go to it. They're just going to tell
Yeah.
me some bullshit. Like you need a
And-
bath all the time or Narg all the time. And
Yeah.
I'm not there for that.
Yeah, and listen, I very much agree with Candace. Leadership seminars usually tend to be someone who failed at leading, explaining to you how to lead because they couldn't
Yeah,
actually
'cause-
make money by leading.
Yeah, because if you're at a leadership conference and that's your main source of money, if your main source of money is telling people how to lead, then you're obviously not that great of a leader.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually kind of a problem in music education as well. There's it's
'cause the people who are good at
survivorship
music don't
bias, I think
teach.
it's called. Because the people who end up teaching music are usually the people that fail to make money by actually making music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very broad generalization, and every one of my
people who are
professors
good
is
at
well
music
smarter
don't
than
teach
me.
music.
Yeah, it's a bit of a harsh way of saying it, but yeah,
That's kind of rough.
yeah, that's a big F. So when you
Actually,
see me
that's teaching in
teaching
general,
music
pretty
soon,
much. I just didn't know the
What was
thing
that?
about it. That's teaching in general, except unless like mentoring, that's slightly different. But teaching in
a
general.
lot of the time
it's always
teaching can be
because-
like that.
Yeah, it's not usually most people's first jobs. When Miss
Hmm.
Crichton told us that she decided to. Did she decide? She decided to do teaching first. I was like, no, that's bullshit. There's no way you came out of high school thinking you wanted to be a teacher.
Someone as
No one does
ambitious
that.
as Crido definitely didn't want to be a teacher. She hates kids. There's no way she'd want to be
Yeah,
around.
she's like, I don't like primary school children. I hate that, the little sticky fingers. And I'm like, we're not much different. We're just bigger.
We're just slightly taller.
We come to you with different problems, but like the problems nonetheless. Anyway.
So back to the topic. Phineas and Ferb see an ad for an all-terrain vehicle that says it can drive on the road and through mud. And they go,
And
on
through
the road,
mud and on road.
yeah.
Can do both.
And they're like, on the road and through mud isn't exactly all terrains. So
We
they're
should
just going to
build
make a better one.
All-terrain
All-terrain, capital A, trademark at the end, all-terrain vehicle.
capital double L. Maybe have spaces in between and
Yep.
then trademark the sign because
All
holy
capital,
cannoli.
spaces in between with a serif font, like a little glow around it in Photoshop, like all out here.
And it like slams down as you say. It's like A-L-L. All.
Yeah, it's like
All-terrain
it's like one of
vehicle.
those barbecue ads where like each letter slams down individually with like a metal clunking sound effect.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be good.
Yep.
Anyway,
And
because it can do all terrain. I've written down one
terrains.
most surprising.
Um,
Clouds.
yeah, it can go over clouds.
Yeah, that's not, no.
Yeah,
Like-
and how it's a plane. That's
Yeah,
that's a plane.
like planes fly, but planes do not drive on clouds.
Yep.
Do you know clouds aren't made of much?
No, they are not.
If you jump on a cloud, you go through cloud. Cloud does not keep you up. Cloud is air pretty much, and they drive on it. They like drive on a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Because
that
it's
is
an
an
all-terrain
all-terrain
vehicle. And also, as they mentioned at the end, just so we're clear, also the road and mud.
It can do both, which is great.
Yep.
And it goes up buildings, down buildings directly. It's like Spider-Man. It can ice skate. It can
Climb
normal
cliffs.
Skate. It can do mud runner. Everything you need it to. If you want to
probably,
participate in
like-
mud runner the proper way, all-terrain vehicle.
It could probably even manage to drive through navigate school life, which
It may be
I'd like
able
notes,
to
please.
even handle the roads slightly outside of a town in Australia, even with all the potholes and no gutters and dangerous
Suicidal
animals. It
kangaroos.
might even be, and suicidal kangaroos. It may be even. It could handle that. I think all terrain,
yeah,
including
all
road
terrain.
potholes, tsunamis. We don't get
All
tsunamis. we get
terrain,
cyclones.
all terrain except Australia.
All terrain, except Australia's a bit too much terrain. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, bit much.
Then they drive it, but they don't drive it because that's illegal. So there's no steering wheel. There's no.
Actually, I just
pedals.
found my note on the terrains. I wrote, they truly make an all-terrain vehicle, clouds and shit. Which I just love the
I
phrasing
wrote
of.
clouds! Exclamation! Exclamation! Terrain! Exclamation! Exclamation! Because I wouldn't class clouds as terrain, but who?
In the implications of Phineas and Ferb, we only take the finest of notes and deliver
The
the
finest
finest
of
of
the finest.
content.
you
Also,
keep cutting out on this
speaking of them driving around, driving around in the all-terrain vehicle, they're apparently friends with the Queen.
Yeah, well, I'm not particularly surprised. Ferb's probably related to the Queen somewhere, because he is, of course, British. And as they go past, he picks up Grandma, and she has a ride in the car, and they're like, I don't know how it rhymes in the song, but it does rhyme in the song.
Yeah,
And then
they're having
like,
tea
have a
with the
cup of
Queen.
tea. Yeah, just as you're just rocking.
As you do. What were you going to say before the Queen thing?
Oh, your Discord keeps cutting out, and you're gonna have to edit this, but it's kinda
Unicaster won't,
shitty.
though, so we're fine.
Yeah, I know, but it's harder for me.
Yep. Life's
well, I
hard,
will
Joe.
live
Get
through it.
over it.
You know what? It's just me in this podcast. I don't even know who Lachlan is. So the children, Phineas and Ferb, they can't drive. You can't drive normally.
Yeah, no,
because of
they can't
course,
drive.
that's
They're
illegal.
children. They are all child characters.
For whatever they do, they don't break the law. Not ever. Surely not. And so instead
Obviously,
of breaking the
as
law,
they mentioned in the next episode, they've got all their zoning permits set up.
they get all
they
their
do not break
permits
the
done.
law.
It's all cleared. It's all legal. So they have a nice little loophole, which is using a remote control that controls the huge vehicle that they're inside that can go over all terrain.
Yeah, so they're not driving it. They're just controlling it while in it, which is a different thing,
which is
apparently.
completely different. And I think that also, like, I've not driven a car with a remote control before. I've driven a normal car. I'm slightly interested on how it works because but it would translate across pretty evenly. And
Yeah,
they just go from, and it's perfectly legal, and I don't see any problems with it until Candace brings it up with Mum, and
Linda.
she's just like, "Nah,
Yeah.
I'm not having it. That's too dangerous. You meant to have an adult supervisor." And I'm like, Phineas was there. He was supervising. Fucking hell. He knew what the
He knew
control
what was
here.
doing. No, but Phineas doesn't have his license. She's on her P's. She's on her L's.
Yeah,
or-
but she should have
Yeah.
just mentioned. Oh no! But if she said Phineas and Ferb were in the car as well, she would have been like, "What?
You
can't
endangered
drive your
Phineas and
little-
Ferb?
Yeah, you drive your little brothers around and try and get them crashed in with your all-terrain vehicle, which wouldn't happen because the car would just drive over whatever you're driving into because all-terrain."
All right. Anyway, back from that tangent that I just cut, and
Which
on
was
to the
funny.
Phineas and Ferb. You'll see what that tangent was about in a couple of episodes. Wink wonk. Doof is doing the Call-a-thon of Evil.
We could actually keep that tangent and then use it in that and just like put it in the middle. It's like
Yeah, I'll keep my hands on it and
just be like, this was
keep
the
it for that
plan.
episode.
And then what we ended up
Was the
with at
plan all
end.
along. That'll be It'll be a nice special episode.
Yeah. it'd be fun.
So yeah, Doof's doing the Call-a-thon of Evil, and it's live because that's evil backwards.
Yeah, he wants to get your money. You know what a teller thingy is? It's when
Hell yeah.
it was really
And-
big well before now. Isn't Hairspray about one? Yeah, Hairspray's about one.
Yeah, and it was well before our time. We were not around when telethons were really a thing.
Well, I think they still happen, but they're obviously not big anymore.
Yeah.
Everything else killed it, like Netflix and bank
Aren't
transfers.
the
not over
only
the
real
phone.
people that are doing telethons now, like the church? Like not the main
Yeah,
church,
I
but like
think so.
those telethon
weird,
Christian
angry
people in America
Christian
that are like,
TV
I
shows.
feel the power of the Lord. And then they like put their hand on someone's forehead and then
Yeah, and then as the money riser comes up, they're like, "Oh my God, I feel the power of the Lord more. Give me more Lord of the power." And that's not how that works.
That's very sus.
yeah.
If your Christianity involves taking a bunch of money from vulnerable old people, your Christianity ain't Christianity.
Yeah, and
It's
if your
being a dickhead.
Christianity is like if money increasing means you feel God more, then you're doing it wrong. That's not God.
Wasn't God
That's
all
crazy.
like, don't worship money above me or whatever?
Yeah,
Wasn't that one of his
literally
things?
like one of his first things. It was just like, and they do it a lot, and he gets angry about it a lot in the Old Testament. Anyway, one of the best. So we've discussed this before that Phineas and Ferb does meta better than most other shows ever.
Oh yeah,
And they don't do it
Deadpool
often,
could
which
like
is
take
great.
some writing lessons from Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, like Deadpool's got very good basic meta, but the meta.
What year was the first Deadpool comic released? Like
No,
98, 99 or something? What year was the first episode of Phineas and Ferb released? 2007. I rest my case.
Exactly. Simple maths, people. Simple
Called a
maths.
rip-off.
Open your eyes. See what's there.
Everyone's like,
anyway.
is Deadpool a rip-off of Deathstroke? Deadpool is a rip-off of Phineas and Ferb. Come on now.
Yeah.
Be
He's a
rational.
rip-off of Doof because Doof is like, he preempts the TV show and then he gets preempted, which is weird because is that how preempting works? And if it does, what happens? Like, let's say you're in breaking news because, I don't know, an earthquake kills hundreds or whatever. And then some other breaking news happens. Which one goes first? This is an interesting question.
Which news is breaking the most?
But then what about the other? Okay, what happens if the first breaking news is news that keeps happening over time? Well, the next breaking news is something that's happening right now. So, like, as in, because you need to know that there's a serial killer on your street, but you would also like to know that there's a fire on the other side of the street. Which one do you get told about? Like, anyway, I just found it interesting that how's breaking the news work. If you get 6 breaking news stories, you can't play all of them. You can only play one.
Just play them all
should get
simultaneously. Divide the screen up like it's an anime where like the people are reacting in an anime.
Like it's Mario
Yeah.
Kart.
Not like the
this
different
side.
boxes, but like you know in anime when like it splits down into like 5 sections from the middle, like radius is on a circle, like poop, 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 yeah, like that, but
Like
with breaking
Smash
news.
Bros.
And they all say breaking news, but like all of the text is like kind of chopped in half because it's not square boxes.
and each one is like a different color, and so people are like, "Oh, which fighter did I choose?"
And occasionally, like, the disasters sync up. Like, the disaster happens in this. One of the disasters happens in the studio where the other disaster is being like covered. So you like kind of see them cross over between different breaking news segments.
And then there's one person who's like recorded a segment for each breaking news, and so he appears in like the different saying different things, but it looks like the same guy. Anyway,
or they're shot like all in the same
into
studio at different angles, so you can see like a background person just walking like between all the different shots.
just like teleports, or just like
They really should put us in charge of the television, shouldn't they?
we
Just
we
all
should
television.
make a TV series.
100%. Next thing after the podcast, make a TV series.
What's it about? You won't know, neither will I, until we start it. Each episode,
You know my
will be
mantra:
different.
aim low, and you'll never be disappointed.
Yeah, it's like Love,
Fuck that.
Death, and Robots, or that it'd be a similar thing to that. Every episode's completely different.
Yep.
I haven't
But you
watched
have
that
to watch
show,
all the
actually.
episodes simultaneously because it's on Netflix. But there's only like one episode, and they just all play simultaneously.
Yeah, and we'll, instead of doing once a week, stuff that they all come out at once.
all
And
come
we
out
say-
simultaneously, start to finish. Have you seen that cut of all the Star Wars movies at the same time?
What? No?
It's so funny. They're all like playing simultaneously over each other, and it's like
Okay.
it's like they're all at like slightly lower opacity, so you can see through them, and
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
watch
see
all
it.
of them at the same time.
See all of
And
them.
it's really funny because the very first second where the Star Wars logo comes up is in perfect sync. So like that
'cause-
first note, the da, 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 that's all synced,
all
but
the-
they're all
does the
slightly
audio-
different tempos. So the audios get out of sync as the crawls happen, and then the movies start playing, and it's just like 6 people talking all at once, and it's fucking
No, God, this is
hilarious.
horrendous.
And then right at the end, it's just Revenge of the Sith because that's the longest one.
It's the longest one. It just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and
Yep.
on and on and on and on and on.
So you're just sitting there watching
anyway, the
the
actual
last
meta
5 minutes
scene
of Revenge of the Sith with
that
nothing
I
else
really
playing.
enjoy is he's like, I get preempted. He's like, no one gets cuts out of my TV, whatever. And then there's a screen goes over the top of him, and it's the photo. It's like just a thing of like, as in they preempted him with nothing, just to show that they could. and then he's just like, haha, very funny. Who's he saying that to?
The
Because he's like,
audience.
hi, very funny. We're all comedians, but we didn't do that. It's the writers who did that, and so that's
Yep.
who he's talking to.
And not
And I
only
found
that,
that
but this
very
episode is
well.
written by Dan Povenmire, who plays Doof. So he's talking to
Voices,
himself.
So Dan Povenmire, he's talking to himself through Doof to the writer, as we see it's meta because we get to see the character's reaction to themselves, like something in the show, and it's overtly aware of what's happening. Because if he wasn't meta, he wouldn't know that would happen. He would have just continued with his show. But something happens to him, so he knows that it covers it up. Anyway,
It's meta.
found that so good. I love it.
Yes.
Don't get to see it often enough.
Yes. So moving on, are we just about ready for the next episode? There's not much else that happens in this one.
Yes, I am very keen for the next step.
Well, you've got the synopsis of that one. So.
All right, the Doof side of the moon, and it's a bit weird. So you've got it. It's certainly one of the more, because it focuses on Irving's brother a bit too much, but that's okay. You need to have something different. But it's just so funny. So Phineas and Ferb have decided they want something to happen to Danville that's an attraction, despite the absolutely large museum, the time machine, the glacier that used to be there, the paint stuff that's been there, like paintings and all sorts of shit that's in Danville that everyone would want to see. They're like,
The fact
begging-
that Phineas and
begging for
Ferb aren't
tourists.
international news and tourism for
is down in
Danville is
Yeah, I know.
ridiculous.
It's
Like,
insane.
there's plenty
They
of towns
discovered
that are known for
Atlantis.
one person.
Atlantis is close to Danville. Surely people drive to Danville just to see Atlantis.
Hell yeah,
Anyway.
I'd go to Danville to see Atlantis. Did you
I'd
visit
go to
Danville,
Danville.
when you went to America?
I'd go to Danville. The city is not in any real place or time. It's close to the beach and close to Mount Rushmore. That's not how it works.
Maybe people can't get to Danville because it exists in its own pocket dimension.
Yeah, well, we'd like to. Anyway, they were like, we're sick of begging for people to come be tourists in our place. A little bit like Australia now, because we're begging for our own citizens to travel our
To
own
travel.
country.
We're simultaneously closing state borders and begging people to go on travel like
Yeah,
on trips.
the plane company's like, oh my God, we need you to travel. And the government's like, yeah, we need you to spend money elsewhere. We need you to spend money in general. The economy's very unstimulated. Go stimulate it. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're shutting down the border. It's like, so where can I visit? Oh, you can't visit your grandma. She's too sick. And you're like, oh, okay, you can't visit your friends. Why? Because there'll be more than 10 people. What? Can I go to this wedding? No, that's more than 50 people. What? Anyway.
Can't leave the
Gotta
country
stimulate that
because,
economy.
get
And
fucked.
you can't order anything in because that's money leaving the country. So you got to buy things here and get them delivered to you, I guess. But then the delivery is going to take forever because everyone else is already doing that. Welcome
And
to
also because,
coronavirus.
Australia Post.
Anyway,
If you get something delivered, Australia Post.
Australia Post. Oh shit! Talking about Australia Post, they are sending our Phineas and Ferb back.
Yes! Yes!
And we will not talk any more about it, so the listeners will be slightly confused.
Listeners,
until we have them.
very, very good content coming up soon. Prepare yourself. Yeah.
I'm super keen. Well, we're keen for it. You're probably not going to see
Yes.
it unless for some reason we start doing a video podcast.
If you do want to see it, follow us on the socials.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
follow us on the Instagram. Follow us on the
I feel like
the
this is
other
a good
platforms.
opportunity for a bit of a plug.
Yeah, plug them.
Plug.
Yeah, follow
Go
us
to
on
Instagram.
Implications of Phineas and Ferb on Instagram. Follow us at _Ferb on Twitter. Follow us.
Well, you won't put it on the Twitter, but we will put it on the Instagram.
No, we'll probably put it on Twitter.
We'll put it on the
done
Twitter. Oh
recently
my
on there.
God,
We'll
this
put it on
is a
there, yeah.
special event. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a big special event. We're not putting it on the TikTok though. If you're on TikTok, get fucked.
We're going to build the biggest tower in the world.
Yeah, Phineas and
And I'm
Ferb
like-
go hard this episode. They're
Yeah,
like, we're
they're
going to
like,
build literally the biggest tower of all time. And they
Of all
passed that, and then they're like, you know what, we're not going to stop. Because
Yeah,
they're
they're like,
madmen.
why not?
They're like,
And
why would
Isabel
you
asked,
stop?
She's like, yeah, why would you stop progress? Well, how could
Yeah,
you
why would you stop
this?
at the oxygen layer? Like, why would you stop when you
Yeah.
get to space?
They're
Keep
in
going.
astronaut suits, and Isabel's like, okay, so when are we going to stop? And he's like, I think we'll know when we get there. Yeah, I think he did when he hit the moon.
Yep, they run into
That's
the moon.
about where you stop. That's
They've
very
effectively
flippin'
locked
tall.
the moon's orbit to Earth's orbit.
For starters, the moon wouldn't be directly above them. It's too far for that, and it would wipe the tower out unless, like you said, they locked it. But then all sorts of shit would happen. Like
You
would-
really think Phineas and Ferb wouldn't build this thing strong enough so that it could, like, grab the moon and control its gravitational pull for...
Well, later on we find out it's connected to the moon stronger than it is the Earth.
Touché.
Anyway, so they've connected it very well to the moon, which would cause all sorts of problems to Earth and shit.
If you're hearing some
do you know
background
how-
noise, by the way, it just started raining. So, sorry about
Rain's
that.
very cool here. Do you know how?
Yeah.
Do you know how like long it is from here to the moon?
Like at least a K.
Yeah, it's pretty far. And when I say pretty far, there's no real way to like visualize it because it's too large for our heads. We have no conceivable thing, except like one of the best ways of you can fit every single planet in between us and the moon.
Yeah, people don't realize, like those charts that show the planets that use in class are really good for like conceptualizing planets
they
in
are.
terms of like where they are relative to other planets, but they are awful at conceptualizing the sheer amount of space between
There-
planets and stuff.
There is
like
a
the moon.
lot of space.
The moon is fucking huge, and it's really far away. Like,
It is big. It's not big in terms of other things, but like it is big. But
is it bigger
like
than
the
Pluto?
distance
I
between-
think it is, right?
no,
No, it might
Pluto's
be
getting
smaller.
increasingly smaller.
Yeah.
No, I'm
By
kidding,
the
that's
way,
from Rick and Morty.
side note, Pluto. Here's a little bit of discourse, a bit of an unpopular opinion. Pluto is not a planet, and it shouldn't be one.
No, from the beginning it shouldn't have. Wasn't it like
Yeah.
small and they're like, oh my god.
It wasn't
But it's not a
declassified because it was small. It was declassified because they found like hundreds of other celestial bodies orbiting at the same distance away. And they were like, okay, well, so long as Pluto's like significantly bigger than all of them, then that's fine. And then they found some that were bigger than Pluto. And they were like,
Pluto.
well,
And they were
shit,
like,
Pluto was the first asteroid to be found in an asteroid belt. That's why it got declassified. And they even let it keep its dwarf planet status when really it's just a rock. Like,
Yeah, but it's like it's a big rock. and
It's
orbiting
a significantly
the sun,
large rock, yeah, but
opposed-
also we missed rocks that are larger the same distance out. It's not even the largest
yeah.
rock in its own orbit.
Yeah, okay. I know. It probably
Asteroid.
shouldn't be a planet. But imagine if we had like 20 planets. Yeah, no, it's dumb. Anyway, our moon, Jupiter, which everyone's like, oh my God, it's huge.
Can't wait to
It's
get
fairly-
angry emails about that. If you want to write an angry email telling us we're wrong about the Pluto being a planet, implications of Phineas and Ferb at gmail.com. I would love to get some hate mail.
I will be the first person to read it, and then I'll be the second person to hate on Lachlan just because I enjoy that, and then Lachlan can read it. But yeah, do send us an email. But so Jupiter, Saturn, and its rings all fit between us and the moon.
Yeah.
It's so far.
It's quite
and
a
if you
while
built
away.
a tower that big, you have built the biggest because there's like you couldn't like oh my God. You wouldn't
It's a
get
very
any
large
further.
tower. It's significantly large.
Yeah, you know how there was like you've heard of like glass elevators or an elevator to the moon, an elevator to space.
Yeah.
Yeah, they aren't really the best idea. We're like, that's not great. But a better one, which might actually work, is a hook. So you just have a hook
Oh, that's cool.
that's constantly orbiting us, and then you have your it's mental, and then you have your like spaceship thing here on Earth, and as it comes in, it like hooks the thing and then slingshots it out.
Nice.
It's very cool. And then you can like give it fuel and boost it more so it stays further out. Anyway.
That would be
'cause
some
as it
very
let-
sci-fi shit. That sounds really
Yeah.
cool.
It's so cool. And it's not free energy, but it's effectively very easy energy because
Yeah,
what you
'cause
get
I
in,
mean-
you get out.
Yeah, like the amount of eventually, if you were siphoning energy from a thing's orbit, it would stop, right? But that's
Yeah,
only
so as soon as
after
as
it's
soon as you
exhausted.
throw something,
Yeah.
it will slow down, and so that means we'll get closer to Earth, and so it won't work. But then you can give it, so you boost it along, you give it some more speed, and it gets back up to the right height. But the way you give it more speed is you pick something up. So if it's like a really good hook, as something came into Earth to slow it down, you would use that. You would use your little sky hook to slow
nice.
it down, and then it would collect
Nice.
that speed and then stay up, and so it would stay at pretty much a constant zero as it.
That's some
Yeah,
pretty
it'd
big
be-
brain shit.
Yeah, it'd be how you do like space stocks and shit. Very cool.
Nice. Well,
Anyway, the Doof
this
side
is
of
far
moon,
more
so
advanced
very
than
good.
that.
Yeah. So they
Um,
build a tower with all sorts of shit in between and some banging songs.
yep.
And I'm like, okay, this is
the-
a cool town.
Did you write down the floors that were on the? In
I
the
just
building?
wrote floor. Hey, I know. Before you tell them what it was actually in the like, I was like, okay, this building's real tall, but like, it's not like it's going to be useful. You've got a building that
it's
gets you
it's
to the
just
moon.
tall.
That's fair enough. It's the tallest building. It's not like a casino or something. No. It might as well be a casino. Each floor has a thing. It's like Andy something or other. That guy who writes the books in the 38-story treehouse. It's like that,
Yeah.
except the stories go to the moon.
Yep.
And every single one is different. And tell me some of the flaws.
Well, first I'm going to do a minor tangent. Speaking of large
Oh.
buildings and casinos, you've just reminded me. There's a very large building I can see from my window. Sydney people will know it. People who aren't from Sydney, you can probably Google it, although I'm going to be very vague because I don't know anything about it apart from this one bit of trivia. There's a really big building, right? It's the tallest building in
Is it the,
Sydney at the moment.
is it the one being built?
Yeah, well, I think it's finished being built now, but it was
The
being built for like quite a while.
Star? Is it called Star? What's it called?
It's not the Star Casino. It's a different casino. Yeah, there's a giant building being built. Bottom of it was going to be a casino, then the top was going to be a hotel, and there was going to be a penthouse on top. The penthouse was the most expensive land in Australia per square foot, and it was being sold off, and someone bought it for like a ridiculous amount of money, like millions of dollars. It was a whole big thing, right? It was meant to be like the biggest thing. It's this massive building. It's going to bring so much in for the economy. You know how it was going to be a casino? Yeah, the cops just wandered in one time and were like, yeah, no, all you organizer people, we found a bunch of you doing like shady dealings with like criminal organizations and cheating people and all that sort of stuff. We're taking your gambling license. So now the bottom like 20 floors of it are just an unused casino with like chips on the table that hasn't operated since it was finished. and the
To
whole
be fair,
building
it's
is
probably
losing
not a
money.
whole bunch of people during Corona, but yeah, holy moly.
Yeah,
I can't
So-
believe they did that.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
insane.
have to double
That
check
is-
if that's a
what's-
public story because I got told that by mum and dad. Maybe that's not something I'm supposed to know.
Oh, well,
I'm pretty sure it's public. It'll be right. So yeah, that reminded me of that. Anyway, the floors in Phineas and Ferb's building, they do have their gambling license, by the way, if they've got a casino, because they don't break the law, as we've
Yeah,
established.
they say that in the song. They say all the parking permits and everything.
All the building permits and zoning permits, all filled out. Good for them. We like
It's
some
the
boys who
only
play by the
6-star
law.
hotel in Australia.
Yes.
So, because there's, you know how you get a 5-star hotel,
Mm.
there's 7 6-star hotels in the world,
Yeah, nice.
and
Well-
then there's 1 7-star in Abu Dhabi. Which is
Well,
not
as
surprising,
we
but yeah.
do, every time you and me and Zach go on a trip, we go to a hotel of increasing star quality. So the first one we did, we went to 4.5-star hotel,
Wasn't
and the
it
next one we went to a
4.5-star, yeah.
5-star. Yeah, so our next one's got to be a 5.5-star, and I don't know if those exist or if they just
No,
start
they do,
going
they
up
do.
by whole. All right, 5.5-star,
5.5
then
stars exist.
the 6-star one will go to that one.
This
so
one
that's
in
cool.
Sydney, and
Yep.
then we have to go to Abu Dhabi, and somehow have like millions of dollars just to like pay the bloody person to park our car. Like, it's mental. the
Oh,
amount of money.
we'll just say we'll pay them later to everyone, and then when we finish,
Yeah,
we'll
because
just
they'll
like,
trust us because somehow we got there.
Yeah,
and we'll
I-
like rent a super expensive car and
I
see how
trust
far
us,
being
yeah.
a con man gets you.
I trust
just-
us, and we'll just keep saying we'll pay them later, and then right at the end, what we'll do is we'll just hide in the embassy and just get them to like extradite
Yeah,
us.
put
out
it on
to
our tab. Put it on
Australia.
our tab. And
Yep.
then somehow the Australian embassy is going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. You can hide in our little area. It's not like you've done a whole like. It's not like you're important. Like you've done a WikiLeak or anything. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
just because.
You're a criminal, and we'll be like, yeah, guilty as charged. Oh, I mean,
Guilty
guilty
as
is not charged.
Because
they're gonna escape.
well, you know what? You're funny fucks, so you can stay here. You legends. Have a nice night.
You mad lads.
If you
Because
flew out of it, no, they'd get you.
yeah, they 100% would.
Yeah, they have so much money and oil. They'd probably shoot you down
Yes.
with oil. They'd just
100%.
to show off.
Just to show off. Anyway, some of the flaws in the episode, I didn't take notes of any of
Mm-hmm.
the flaws. I only took note of one. They're like, this one's our action figure unboxing floor, and this one's our historical
our
floor, and
chess floor.
this one's our whatever that painter that did that surrealist artwork is called room, and it was like
Oh yeah, the
all those different
with
angles and
the
like
crazy
impossible
shit
stuff.
with the stairs not making sense. Yeah,
yeah, and then they're like,
the
and
paradox
this
room, pretty much.
and this is our office room. Wait, no, we sublet this floor. And Ferb was like, a bad idea in retrospect.
No, it's like it's just like not a good idea.
Yep.
Subletting a floor is actually a very real thing that happens, and
Yeah.
I know this. 'cause
I had
when
to
did a
Google the
tour of
word.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to tell you
Yeah.
about it. Well, I'll tell you, for the people who want, subletting is when someone owns a building and then another company who needs workers close to their normal main hub but can't afford to build a building, or buy a building, they're like, we'll rent out your floor so our workers can work there. And they're like,
Yes.
yeah, chill, give us money. It's a good idea. Combank in Sydney is currently building a brand new building, and it's going to house like all of their workers, which is crazy
Nice.
considering their current building houses like, well, not houses, but employees, like the people work there, like 40% of them, and the other 60 are all in subletted floors, and they've got them like all over Sydney, like super close to
Yep.
their main one in Sydney. And when I went for this little tour with this guy, we went into, I think it was Allianz, and it's really weird because you have to get like a different key and stuff, but then inside it's just all Combank, even though it's in Allianz, another competitor banker. Well, Allianz isn't, but like they will be in NAB and stuff like that. Yeah, I found that really funny that in the corporate world they're just like, yeah, no, you can. It doesn't matter to us. You can have our floor.
Well, speaking of Combank, do you know how I know where the Combank building is?
You googled it.
No, because I get chicken nuggets from the Woolies Metro that's located underneath it, like literally every week. A good snack food.
Nice.
I don't have time for breakfast when I have a 9 a.m. lecture, so I just like bike there and then I
Oh
stop at
God,
the
no!
Woolies Metro.
How
and I
could
have
you
some
wake
chicken
up at
nuggies.
8 and have breakfast? That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
I know you're joking, but I mean it. Unrelated Phineas and Ferb note. Irving's brother
subletting
is
force is crazy.
What was that?
And that means they were really quick, and that means that they built the building, and someone was like, "Yep, we want to."
Yeah, they were all over it.
Building.
It was probably part of the
And
contract. It's probably like they they partially funded it by subletting the floor in advance.
But people were in there, and they had that like scene where he's like, "Oh, so what are you doing after work?" It's just like, oh my god. Anyway.
So on another unrelated Phineas and Ferb note, Irving's brother is an incel.
An absolute crazy stalker bit. I don't like him, and he freaks me out, and he scares me even more.
He's
like his
terrifying.
van, and she's
He's
just like, "What? Are
literally
you
an
an
incel."
exterminist?"
He's like-
and he's like, "No," and they leave that unchecked, and I'm like, "That man has 18 different screens in there. That's not a healthy thing. Not a healthy thing."
Yeah, it's very yikes. He also he also literally does like the milady, I'm an honorable guy, I'm not like other dudes, I'm a cool nerd type routine, and I'm like, that is some
you're the
bullshit
grossest
right
nerd
there.
I've seen ever.
That is gross as
Nerds
hell.
aren't bad, but I did. This
I
came
love
out well
nerds.
before.
Nerds are my people, but like
nerd
not like
culture
this.
has changed, but they leaned heavily on that nerd culture.
Here's
and the
a
nerd word.
little-
I did like the nerd word though. That was
The
funny.
nerd word was funny, yeah. But
You've only
here's
got two more of those.
here's a slight here's a slight tangent. Sorry to be a little bit political on the podcast, but
I'm about to
there's
get
a
even more
lot-
political, so go for it.
there's a lot of people in the nerd world, being a massive Marvel fan, massive Star Wars fan, former Pokemon Beyblade kid. There's a lot of people in the nerd world that make it insufferable because they believe that because stereotypical masculine men are like diametrically opposed to them. So like there's footballers and there's nerds, right? And because because feminist movements see toxic masculinity and are against it, they think that because they are different to those people, that they are immune from toxic masculinity.
No,
and I'm like,
it's just a different
you are
sort.
the opposite. You are too far extreme in the opposite direction, and you are just as toxic with your attacking female journalists for reporting on female representation in video games, and you're insisting that characters always be like half naked when it's completely unnecessary, and like objectifying women in the media that you consume, and etc., etc., etc. Like nerds can be very sexist as well, and you are not immune to it because you're a nerd. And that's why there's so many, because they think that they can't be one.
With one comment that I don't think we should talk about, and I just want to say it. Before I say that comment, we should all just be like Jeremy.
Yes, 100%. Jeremy is the ultimate.
He's a LARPer, but that's about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Jeremy's the ultimate man.
You can be
and we
cool
all want to
and
be
still
Jeremy and have a Jeremy.
LARP. Yeah.
You can
Jeremy's
be
a cool
cool and still LARP. No,
Yeah.
I draw the line there. You can't. Anyway.
Here's another implication. I can't believe that Phineas and Ferb predicted those robot hand thingies that Jeff Bezos was using.
Yeah, I know. How could... Then I swear they've used those robot hand things before, though.
Probably, yeah. But every time I see robot hands that are like controlled, like you wear gloves and then you control robot hands, I immediately think of
The crazy look Jeff Bezos had when he did it. And he looked
when
like
Jeff
an evil
Bezos
scientist.
got robot hands, and his first reaction was, after taking off his tie and unbuttoning one button on his shirt so that he could, get really hands-on with them, holding the hands up and going, like, there's all the things he could do. Why is your laugh so evil?
Yeah, and he like looks at the hands as well, and he's like, all the things I could do.
It's like, bro, if that, oh my, like, you can laugh
It
and have
really
fun
is.
when using robot hands, but when you're like a billionaire and you're like, I've got robot hands, how should I respond to this? I should laugh, but not just laugh in the most evil fucking way I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like, he could have just been like, but instead he was like,
Jeff Bezos is our villain.
Like,
every story has a villain, and our entire world is Jeff Bezos.
yeah, 100%. The reason that we know that Superman doesn't exist is because Jeff Bezos hasn't tried to kill him.
When Jeff Bezos becomes president, and starts wearing green and shaves his head, I think his hair is already shaved, then we'll know Superman does
he
exist,
already
and
looks
he's
like
just
Lex
trapped him.
Luthor.
Yeah. He just hasn't become president yet, and then he'll have to trap him. And then
Keyword
then
being
we'll know.
yet.
No, maybe that's why Jeff Bezos is still in power, is because he did kill Superman. We had Superman and he killed him.
Or
He's
maybe
already
the
got rid
reason
of
that Jeff Bezos hasn't become president is because he's scared of Superman. Opposite.
Will we ever find out? How to win
If you're
capitalism and
Superman,
become the
hi,
villain
welcome to
of
the
world?
podcast. Could you write in and let us know if you're keeping Jeff Bezos up to
Actually, don't
lock
write
or
it.
not?
Just fly over here so I can yell at you
Yeah,
like you're the
100%.
worst superhero. But also come here anyway because it'd be funny.
Side note, ranting about it again because I never get tired of saying this. I can't believe that Marvel made a good Superman movie, made a good Superman character before fucking DC did.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day because there's a rumor that they're going to make an Injustice Superman film.
Yeah.
An Injustice film.
I'm
with
sick
Superman
of
like leading.
I'm sick of gritty versions of DC characters. They're like, here's a gritty, realistic take. Here's an Injustice take. Here's a take where all of the main stories have already happened and it's set like later in the timeline. I'm like, can we just have a good fucking Superman movie? That's all I ask. I just want one. He's a cool character. Marvel made a better Superman movie than you, and it's called Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Like, watch the old ones. The old ones are fun. Watch the old ones. If you want campy Superman, watch the old ones. They're pretty funny. There's one where he like goes out of his way to save this chick without using his like he uses his powers but in a secret way, and she's like, "You're Superman." He's like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." She's like, "You're Superman." And he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm just buffling Clark Kent." And he like drops shit and stuff. And then at one point he drops his glasses in a fire. And keep in mind, like he keeps his powers top secret, and then he just puts his hand in the fire. And gets them out. And she's like, "Oh my God, see, you are Superman." He's like, "Oh, damn, you've caught me." And I'm like, that's hilarious. The man just wanted to get laid. He could like, oh.
And with that, our recording software broke. And we ended up talking for another 10 minutes, but unfortunately it wasn't recorded. Now, we were going to re-record the episode because it doesn't have a good conclusion. But then we realised we pretty much talked about everything we wanted to and then proceeded to rant about DC movies for the remainder of what we were recording. So we decided, all right, we'll leave it there and I'll record an outro. So that's what you're listening to. So thank you for listening to the implications of Phineas and Ferb. From me and Joe, who is standing right here and is just not talking. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I know what we've done today. I know what we've done today too, Lachlan. I'm also here.
The implications of Phineas and Ferb. Listen to it whenever you can.